Hello, my name is Jay Roberson. I'm a physician at Children's Mercy Hospital. I work in sports medicine. And today we're going to be talking about why exercise is the best medicine. Um, as one quote said, if exercise was a pill, it would be the most widely prescribed medicine on earth because it does so many great things for the body. In general, we know that everybody needs exercise to be healthy. Um, there's a certain threshold where exercise is very helpful, and there can be a level at which it can cause problems. But very few people reach the level where it's causing problems, and not enough people are reaching the level where it is beneficial. We know that in general, people need both moderate and vigorous physical activity, and they need both aerobic and strength training physical activity. There's a few different recommendations depending on your age, but in general, everybody needs some physical activity every single day. Ideally, for the kids out there, the kind of grade school to high school kids, we'd like them to be doing about 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily, with at least 3 days of vigorous physical activity. So for a lot of kids, playing sports takes care of that. Being in PE class takes care of some of that, but that's not always the case. Unfortunately, some schools are limiting the amount of physical activity in PE per week because there's just not enough time in the day to get your other subjects in. So having some kind of scheduled or planned physical activity with sports helps with that. However, a lot of kids aren't in sports. And so just general free play, going to the park, playing on the jungle gym, run around, playing tag, things like that are great ways for kids to get physical activity. When you get up into the adult age, kind of the 18 to 64, you're looking at ideally around 300 minutes of physical activity a week, moderate physical activity a week, but anywhere from 150 to 300 minutes is ideal. And then another 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity. So moderate physical activity being brisk walking, vigorous being jogging or biking or something where you're getting that heart rate up a little bit higher. And then for 65-year-old and over, we also recommend that same number of moderate and vigorous physical activity. Strength training is another part that's kind of been recommended and added over the last few years. And we know that kids, it should be part of that daily physical activity. And a lot of things kids do kind of include some bone loading and muscle loading activities like jumping and swinging on the monkey bars and things like that, where they're really engaging their muscles and not just doing aerobic activity. But adults sometimes don't have as much strength training going on, and we really recommend that adults, again, the age 18 to 64, have at least 2 days a week of strength training where you're engaging all major muscle groups at moderate or greater intensity. So that could be weightlifting, that could be Pilates, that could be doing TRX bands or rubber band resistance training, things like that. And then for the 65 and older group, we also want to include balance training, kind of to make sure that we can ward off potential falls and things like that, which are a much greater problem later in life. We also recommend that everyone just sits less time in front of the TV, less time in front of the computer, which is a lot harder these days. But getting up and just, taking a break every once an hour for 5 or 10 minutes and getting up and walking around the office or walking around the neighborhood is really important. You got a dog, go take that dog on a walk. Go get them some exercise too, because we know the dogs need some exercise. And, beautiful day outside, go to the park. Inside, if you've got the ability to do it, treadmills, rowing machines, stationary bikes are all great ways to do it. Joining a gym can be helpful. There's a lot of healthcare plans out there that'll help you with gym memberships, especially Medicare will help a lot of times with YMCA memberships and things like that. So there are plenty of ways to do it. It's also helpful to do it as a family. Get your kids, your parents, your aunts, uncles, grandparents, everybody out there together. It's a great way to do it. Do it with a friend. Another great way to do it. Just wanted to go over some of the benefits of exercise. Again, basically, it's a miracle drug. It does so many good things for your body. And those can include just as simple as lowering your weight. In America, we do have an overweight and obesity epidemic, and losing some weight can definitely help with general feeling of wellness. And again, for people who are overweight, sometimes trying to make a goal of going out and running a marathon isn't a reasonable thing to do. So you can start with things like weight training, where you're going to have a little more success early on, because generally there's quite a bit of strength associated with people who are overweight, and they can start doing some strength training, and that kind of gets you motivated a little early, gives you a little success, and then you can add in some of the cardiovascular stuff down the road when you're feeling a little bit better in shape. It also increases your psychological well-being. Everybody tends to be in a better mood with exercise, which there's plenty of mental health and depression and anxiety and things over the last couple of years with COVID and other things that are happening in the world, and anything you can do to help combat that is good. And again, exercise is better than just about any medicine that's ever been put on the market for any of those things. It helps also with memory and cognitive function. So exercise definitely improves that, especially if you're getting a little older and feeling like you're having some memory issues. I know my dad says that all the time. And exercise will definitely help with that memory and cognitive function, which will also help with sleep. So exercise, if you're getting more exercise during the day, you're going to have better sleep, better quality of sleep, better length of sleep, easier to get to sleep. Although it is important to do that exercise earlier in the day and not right before bedtime, because that unfortunately can keep you up a little bit. So if you can do it early in the morning or early in the afternoon, it's typically better than late in the evening. Beyond that, beyond the brain help, it can help a lot with the cardiovascular system. So it improves your heartbeat, the efficiency of your heartbeat, the rate of your heartbeat, and improves coronary blood flow. You can make new blood vessels to your heart by having more exercise and getting that heart working harder, and it improves your lung function, which gets more oxygen to your body and therefore more oxygen to your brain and your other organs. Exercise can decrease your cholesterol, so it decreases triglyceride levels, decreases LDL levels, and it increases HDL levels. So HDL is good cholesterol, you want more of that, and LDL and triglycerides are kind of the bad cholesterol, and you want less of that. So exercise helps both those go in the right direction. It also can lower your blood pressure, which is very important. There's a lot of blood pressure issues, especially as people get older. And then it can also decrease your blood coagulation, so less chance of strokes and less blood clots and things like that through the body. It can also improve your glucose levels. So if you're increasing your physical activity, especially strength training, you can get increased glucose into your muscles and less in your bloodstream, which is good and helpful for people with diabetes and pre-diabetes and problems like that. And it also improves your insulin sensitivity. So if you have low insulin sensitivity with something like type 2 diabetes, then exercise will improve that. Yeah, so I mean, there's not one medicine that does all that. So exercise is truly the best medicine that has ever been invented. So I encourage everyone to exercise. I encourage everyone to get out there and try it. You got to start somewhere. That doesn't mean you have to meet those criteria. You know, day one, you don't have to meet the 60 minutes a day if you're a kid, or the 150 to 300 minutes a week in the first week if you're an adult. But that needs to be the goal, and you can get there over time. Again, get there with a friend, get there with a family member. It'll be fun. It'll be a good journey, and I encourage everyone to get after it. Thank you.